So, underfunded schools got more resources rhetoric coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logic Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, I got more resources for y'all. Now, underfunded schools is an example of end result thinking. Again, black people crying about the end result, but ignoring how we got to the end result. That seems to be, again, it's just a common tactic of black victimhood and really a common tactic of leftism. But as y'all know, black folks are always finding ways to be victims in America and always deflecting away from personal responsibility. So if there's any deficiency in America with black folks, it's always the system. It's always the white man, never themselves. And academics are no different. It's no different. So if there's a deficiency amongst black people when it comes down to academically or schooling, it's always it's always the system. It's the system. It's the schools. It's the teachers and racism, and it's always everything, never themselves. Now, oftentimes what you find in the hood is a lot of the black kids in those schools will be falling behind academically. And of course, their argument to this will be, well, it's because the schools are underfunded. Now, what I have noticed in many cases that these same schools, if there are any non-black students in those schools, those inner city schools, for some reason, those non-black kids will be learning. They will learn. You know, many of these schools, the valedictorians will be Vietnamese students. Those Vietnamese students will be the valedictorians. They'll be learning in the school system, but somehow the black kids can't learn. Now, anyway, so what's the real problem here, though? Well, how are schools funded? We know how schools are funded. We hear it all the time. We pay property taxes to fund the schools. So if the schools are funded by property taxes and the schools are underfunded, that means that the people in the community aren't paying property taxes. So that's on the people in the community then pay some damn taxes. Now, why these schools are underfunded and why they aren't paying the taxes? Well, typically in the hood, you tend to have a lot of government dependency. Often have a lot of government dependency, especially with black females. You have a lot of females living in government housing. Well, if you're living in government housing, you're not really paying property taxes. Okay, the government's not paying property taxes to itself. And most of the government housing is owned by the government. And then also, typically in these areas are heavily subsidized by people who are dependent upon the government by way of welfare, Section 8, so on and so forth. And another problem in these communities, in these hoods, is that you have a mentality, again, the ghetto mentality that I've talked about all the time. I talk about the ghetto mentality all the time. You know, because of the ghetto mentality, oftentimes you have a situation in these areas in which property value is very low because nobody wants to invest in these areas. So therefore, the value of the property is lower because nobody wants to live there. And thus, if the value of the property is low, well then the taxes on the property is going to be lower and there's less funding for these schools. So at the end of the day, it's the people in the community that aren't funding these schools. So if you say underfunded schools, it's the community, the people in the community. So the blame falls on the people in the community in the story. So if you ever hear any one of these race suspects, any one of these black victims crying about underfunded schools, well, now you know, and knowing it's at the battle. And as always, y'all, until next time.